weekend, we learned that Fox News has decided to no longer include Jeanine Pirro in the network's lineup. Apparently, she had made some comments that ended up being the final straw for the network.
Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
Those comments were truly disgusting, and they were specifically meant to instill fear over Representative Omar's religion. Pirro didn't mention that Omar has been critical of Muslim extremism and has repeatedly condemned Saudi Arabia. But Pirro is also known to demonize certain groups while giving others a pass, like the neo-Nazis who chanted, "The Jews will not replace us" in Charlottesville, Virginia. That type of clear and overt anti-Semitism didn't get Pirro as animated. Anyway, maybe Fox got rid of Pirro because they realized that rhetoric actually has consequences. I mean, after all, 50 individuals were just murdered in the mosque shootings in New Zealand. Is Fox finally having a moment of serious self-reflection? No, of course not. It's about the money. Advertisers do not want to be associated with programming that antagonizes a giant portion of their potential consumer base. Sponsors were already planning on pulling out of Pirro and Tucker Carlson shows since they're both steeped in controversy over their rhetoric. Fox panicked and decided to have some sort of day-long gathering with advertisers to calm their nerves. But protesters showed up too.
The best thing that America can do is shut off fake news. And that would start with Fox, and that would start with all of their programming. Don't watch the channel.
When I say foxes, you say sexist! Foxes!
Sexist!
Foxes!
Sexist!
We have no expectation of Fox to do anything. We don't expect them to do the right thing. But what we do expect is that advertisers will respond to the bottom line, which is money. And what we're saying is that Fox is bad for business. And in particular, women are actually huge economic drivers. Women are the targets of a lot of advertisements, actually. And frankly, if you want women to buy your products, you can't advertise on Fox News. And that's the message we're sending.
Now, I think those protests actually worked because now the Associated Press reports that Pirro's show, Justice with Judge Jeanine, is that really the name of her show? Okay, anyway, it's been replaced by other programming. The Fox News schedule for the upcoming weekend does not include the show. Honestly, after the tragic events that took place in New Zealand, people in general need a moment of self-reflection. We need to consider whether the way we talk about politics, political figures, or religious issues stokes or encourages violence. In the very least, while people still grieve the loss of innocent family members and even children as young as 3 years old, we should practice some degree of sensitivity and avoid adding insult to injury for these victims. But that's not how Donald Trump rolls. He doubles down and leans into the hateful rhetoric. He even attempts to reward it, calling Nazis very fine people after their hate march in Charlottesville. And he's doing it again with Jeanine Pirro. Trump recently tweeted, quote, "Bring back Judge Jeanine Pirro. The radical left Democrats working closely with their beloved partner, the fake news media, is using every trick in the book to silence a majority of our country. They have all-out campaigns against Fox News hosts who are doing too well." And then he continues to write, "People must stay strong and fight back with vigor. Stop working so hard on being politically correct, which will only bring you down, and continue to fight for our country. The losers all want what you have. Don't give it to them. Be strong and prosper. Be weak and die. Stay true." Okay, so after this horrendous shooting happened in New Zealand, he decides that he's going to double down on all of this and very publicly support an individual who's been stoking tensions toward the Muslim community. Great. So again, instead of being a true leader who encourages the de-escalation of violence and hateful rhetoric, he pushes for more of it. And if you're thinking that my argument is silly and that Trump is really a strong protector of free speech, you're wrong. Trump only supports speech that compliments him or helps garner support within his base. Don't take my word for it. There's a wealth of evidence to consider. Let me show you the latest example. On the same weekend, Trump put out those tweets supporting Pirro. He also threatened late-night talk shows, comedy shows, that mock him with federal investigations. Apparently, SNL's been getting under his skin, and he made that abundantly clear in a tweet that read, "It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, not funny, no talent, can spend all of their time knocking the same person, me, over and over, without so much of a mention of the other side. Like an advertisement without consequences. Same with late night shows. Should Federal Election Commission or FCC look into this? There must be collusion, yada, yada, yada." I don't want to read the rest of his tweet because it's mind-numbingly stupid and idiotic. Jesus Christ. So first off, his approval rating, which he claimed is extremely high, he said it was at 52%. No, not at 52%. That was actually cute. Gallup's latest presidential job approval rating stood at 39% for Trump. The majority of the country, or 57% of Americans, disapprove of Trump. Yeah. Also, how sad is it that Trump, who's supposed to be the most powerful man on the planet, has a hissy fit over comedy shows poking fun at him? Inciting violence against minorities, Trump's all for it. Making him the butt of a joke, FCC investigations. Look, it's just embarrassing. And finally, can we all stop pretending as though conservatives aren't constantly pushing for political correctness? The right wing in America is obsessed with policing speech. They're the ones who claim they like it when people tell it like it is, except when the individuals doing the talking insult Trump or their political views. They tried to silence Representative Omar over her objection to the Israeli government's behavior, but then they'll turn around and demand that UC Berkeley lose its funding over students protesting speakers like Ben Shapiro. And remember, although Fox does feel like an arm of the federal government these days, it's not. It's a private company that can hire and fire whomever they feel necessary. Fox is always going to look out for its bottom line and its profit motive. But Trump is part of the government, and the Constitution states that he shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. So given that Trump attacks the media on a regular basis, revoked press credentials, and tried to intimidate late-night shows with federal investigations, it's pretty clear that he doesn't respect the Constitution. Gee, I remember someone telling me or telling us how important the Constitution is.
Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
Hey, Pirro. The Constitution isn't a prop. Your dear leader has been stomping on it from the beginning of his presidency, and you didn't utter a word condemning him. But I have to admit that it does feel good knowing that there are consequences for those who spread propaganda with the sole purpose of dividing us and spreading hatred. I just wonder when that day will come for Trump. Did you know that TYT Network is now available on YouTube's new streaming platform, YouTube TV? Get access to full TYT episodes and exclusive shows by signing up for YouTube TV today. All new subscribers get a 7-day free trial, so head over to youtube.tv and search for the TYT Network channel.